I should like
Yeah.
Snuggies instead as a comfort blanket. Instead, I like Lorraine Schwartz, which is a problem.
Rings, the mixing of.
What? Sorry, we're not serious today. For me, wardrobe is always the way that I enter a character. I'm a very shy person. So if I look a certain way, then I can escape into that. Like in stuff today, I don't dress like this in real life, but like I'm having to like do interviews and talk. So I'm going to wear like a crazy pattern, really crazy rings. Also are like my comfort blanket. It's just a very
minute since we talked about Blake Lively. Listen, we are still in discovery. And because discovery disputes are so common, it got a little bit overwhelming this week. I'm not going to lie. There was like a response to the motion for sanctions. There was an opposition to Jed Wallace's motion to dismiss. There was a motion to compel for Jed Wallace and then a supplemental. And a lot of this is just your average of the day, run of the mill discovery stuff and motion to dismiss. And I started to realize that every single filing maybe doesn't need its own video and not everything is super, super important, because then sometimes y'all get a little bit upset if rulings don't go in the way of Wayfair. And I realized that there's a couple things that happened this week that were not great for Blake. And that was one, when she sought discovery from Wayfair and did an omnibus motion to compel. Wayfair responded by basically saying, most of what she's asking for is we're already going to send her. So much of this motion to compel is already moot and it's not even necessary. And then Blake sent this supplemental list of all of these documents that she had wanted that she said she wanted till today's current date, which is almost 9 months after she filed this lawsuit to begin with. And Wayfair was pushing back and saying, they don't really feel comfortable sending all that information. And if she is going to extend the date, then we should get discovery from her until that date. They didn't really respond and provide an argument about why Blake Lively should send that. And so it wasn't really the best argument to make, right? But the judge did give them a small victory when it comes to this. Basically, what the judge said in the order for the omnibus motion to compel is that, listen, Blake, they were already going to send all of this to begin with, okay? And you are a little bit premature here. And so, yes, they will send this to you. And he just like kind of finalized it and said, you have to X date to send her over these documents. And then he went on to the aspect of whether or not he was going to allow Blake Lively access to all of Wayfair's records until the present date. And in that case, he didn't agree with her. In fact, he said if he was going to look at the scope of the litigation here, anything that's happening today would be way too far removed from the claims and arguments that she made in her initial complaint. Because now anything that Wayfair is really doing today